Yes.
All the loitering.
One of the things
was the church among the evil spirits that the president was talking about?
He was talking about us, the church, and every other person that has criticized the presidency of President William Ruto as being a failure, which it is. It has been proven beyond reasonable doubt that there have been a lot of greed and theft of public funds. The latest being the plan to steal 104 billion from the Ministry of Health to create a record, create a program to manage health records costing 104 billion, something that by all common sense should not cost anything more than 1 billion shillings, and that has been proven. So, well, if he says we are the evil spirits, then I believe he is the bishop of the Holy of the evil spirits. What the president should be telling us is what he has done with our public funds, because we are just asking legitimate questions. This has nothing to do with us disliking the president himself. It has everything to do with us asking accountability from the person we voted for to be our president, to account to us what he has done with the loans that he has borrowed from the international market and even from the domestic market, in terms of infrastructure, expenditure, and many other programs that he is running, and also to tell us the rationale behind some of his pet projects. For example, the president should be telling us how affordable is the affordable housing program, for example, because this is one of his pet projects. He talks about 160,000 housing units, but how many Kenyans have the money to buy a bed seat at 1.79 million?
So you are shocked by President Ruto referring to his critics as being possessed by the evil spirits?
Well, he can insult us anything that he wants, but what he should know is that we are his employers, and if he's joking with us, we are going to fire him.
Impeach or?
Tutamfuta kazi.
How?
By all means necessary.
President Ruto, you know, if at all he's a man who wants accountability or is open to accountability and is transparent, why not allow criticism, positive criticism in this case? In fact, the church now seems to also have been under that evil spirit castigation from the president.
Chacha, the last time, sometimes I sit on this panel. One day I was with Bako Ure here, and he was speaking these things which Morara is speaking. Today he's not speaking them, simply because I put them to perspective. Let me just conclude something.
No, you took him to the boss and he got something.
No, just a minute. You are asking me questions.
Okay.
First, the problem we have with this...
Wait, just before progressing, are you saying Kasmuel Makori was taken to President Ruto by this guy?
I am telling you this.
Yeah.
I put him to where he belongs. Like, I'm going to leave
it's
him
not
when
even
he knows
about
where
putting,
he belongs.
You took him somewhere and he got something.
Just wait. Because Morara... just a minute. And I want to tell you. No, because when he speaks like what he speaks without facts, he speaks without knowing. Like I'm telling you.
Did you take us now
to come to the performance.
Can you give us the facts of the performance of President William Ruto? Tell us the good things he has done.
Let me tell you. We have to first of all, when you want to look at performance of the president, we be objective. If you want to be subjective, so it's subjective.
Let's be objective.
Began with the part where he's charming those who are criticizing him.
You will not guide me on what to say.
The possession of the
no. You will not guide me on what to say,
okay,
because you have asked the question. Just a minute.
You have asked the good things.
I'm going to speak.
Speak.
Yes, you have asked the performance of the president, and that's what
put us in our place.
Tell us what the president has done. Evil spirit part.
Please, evil spirit is not performance. So if you want to discuss president's performance,
the performance of an evil spirit is possessing. So that's performance.
I will talk, or I will wait for you to talk.
No,
once you are done, I'll speak.
Personally, I want to hear.
Yes.
What the
so
president
you need
has
to
done.
listen. How do you hear without listening?
Progress and
yes. So you must first of all listen and know that you can evaluate William Ruto's presidency based on one completely done budget and the next budget which is in course. Number two, the president has done different things, and very many of them. One, we have policy frameworks for particular projects to be done. Number two, we have the very many county integrated development zones, which we call economic zones, which are being done. The affordable housing is talking about are projects which are on, is only that they deliberately ignoring the fact that they are projects which are on, is only that they don't want them. And the fact that you don't want them doesn't make them be absent.
Who
but
said
they are
we
being
don't-
done.
who said we don't
Excuse
want
me,
them?
you asked the performance. Let me tell you. Are you not aware that the affordable housings are going on? Are you not,
they're
how
going.
How
are they
affordable is
not
it?
on?
the-
Excuse me,
How
don't talk
affordable is
about
it?
affordability. You are
Kennedy.
asking the
But
performance.
It is
Kindly
called the
differentiate-
affordable housing
Kindly
program.
differentiate between
Tell us about affordable.
criticism and rejection of these programs. In this case,
You can
we're
ask
talking
Morara
about-
whether he wants the projects or not, because you ask the performance. You
Of course
see,
I don't want.
when
Kennedy,
I'm telling you what
back
the
to my-
president is doing,
Yes, back to my question.
How
so are you
affordable
are you
is
reframing the
affordable?
question because my answer
In
is
this
not
case,
satisfying
not
you?
really.
Let's look
In
at
this case, Kennedy,
Yes.
is it, define criticism and rejection? Because I believe in this case, Kenyans have no problems with some of the things the president is doing.
Meaning that the projects
issue
are
here
on.
is they are calling for accountability and transparency.
Okay. Are you
But
looking
instead, the
at-
president
excuse me,
counters that and says those are evil spirits.
Chacha, when you come and ask a question, let the question be answered.
Okay,
You
answer.
asked the performance.
You've
Let
talked
us
about
not talk
housing
about-
program.
Okay.
How affordable is it?
Don't
Tell us
ask-
that
let
one.
me ask you, are the
Is it affordable?
Okay, but are the affordable housing projects going on?
Are they affordable?
Ken,
No,
Ken,
please.
the affordable housing project.
Affordability, you can ask Parliament because it was
But it
approved
is
by
called
Parliament. That's
affordable
amendment.
housing.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Let's allow now Julius to
Okay,
also
no,
speak.
you are
I'll be-
not allowing
I'll
me
be
to
coming
speak.
back-
Speak.
I'll
It's
be
my
coming
turn.
back to
No,
you.
it's not your turn.
For
No,
notice
no,
of
it was
time.
not his term.
The
Because
affordable housing.
No,
Kindly
I
be
asked a
punchy.
question.
The
Be
affordable
punchy while
housing.
responding for the rest of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's allow him,
Okay,
then I'll
let me-
I'll be
and
coming
And
back
then
to
when
you.
it comes my
I'll
time,
be
let
coming
me
back to
let
you.
me
Okay,
respond.
now it's
Because
my
we will
time.
not
Now
talk
it's my time.
to budget to talk ill of the government, and when we
No,
come to
I-
speak,
Let's
the
allow
truth,
him
I'll-
hand
You are
his
telling
money.
them
I'll be
now.
coming-
you have not been allowing me
You are
to speak.
oversensitive.
No, every moment
Julius,
I spoke,
kindly
you
submit your
interfered.
point.
Now, let me say
Yeah.
this. Let me say this.
So let us have
me
order
say
here.
this.
When he speaks, I
Ken.
keep quiet. When I speak, they keep
Then
quiet.
you keep quiet. I'm
Thank
speaking.
you. I'm now quiet, and never interfere with my part. Yes.
Neither should you. Now, listen. You see, sometimes, and this is
The
the
critics being termed as evil spirits.
let me say this. Being the president of Kenya is a very stressful job because he is leading a very open society. Now, about the evil spirits, let me start with the people who deal with spirits, the church. When President Ruto was running for presidency, he was the angel. We remember very well, the church said, this is our man. After he got into the presidency, he's no longer an angel. Now, if you read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, Satan is constant. I think, Ken, you know that.
It's your time
And
to
God
speak.
is
You want to
constant.
interfere?
It's my turn to speak, yeah. One thing I would add the church is this. Let's be consistent. If William Ruto was an angel, let him continue being an angel. Because we never know. Today, Morara is the angel here.
Tomorrow I'm the evil spirit.
Tomorrow, you will be the evil spirit.
Yeah.
So let us stop this hypocrisy. And the other issue about also the church. Political shaming is a very bad thing. And I think, Ken, you agree with me. When in the villages, if you do something funny in a church, unasimamishwa pale mbele, utolewe mapepo. That is exactly what the church is doing. If I gave a donation that you didn't like, please, let's stick to the biblical principle of what the right hand does and the left hand does, let neither know. Call me in private and give me back my donation. Don't go and call a political rally to give me my back donation. There will be an ulterior motive. It's so unbecoming of what the church is doing.
Morara,
First,
the president is keen to realize the PPPs, in this case JKA, and he states that some of those who are criticizing such or some of the projects have never even utilized those particular projects. In this case, the attempts to seal the Adani deals flopped due to public pressure, or do you believe it's because maybe in what others would refer the president is a puppet of the US?
Yes, I would very much love to answer your question. But before I answer your question, let me just do a quick rejoinder to the gentleman who just spoke about the church. I'm a believer, and honestly, in all conscience, I cannot sit here and participate in a conversation that vilifies the church, because yes, the church was wrong about President William Ruto, but the church has found its way, and they are leading their congregation towards the truth, and they are standing up for what is just. And what the church is saying is simply the truth, that they do not support abductions, they do not support extrajudicial killings, they do not support corruption, and that they do not support donations to the church from questionable sources, where people donate large sums of money that are way beyond their salary and they cannot be said where they've come from, and these donations are being given to turn the church this way or the other way. So for that reason, hiyo mambo ya kanisa, that one I do not agree. But if we move forward to what you've just said about the president trying to implement his strategy through the PPPs, more especially the Adani deals, which involved the healthcare sector, the K24, and also the airport. You see, we are dealing with the issue of state capture, and the president is frustrated that we've been opposing every program that he comes up with, and probably feels that we are being unreasonable, or we are being subjective to reject every single thing that he puts on the table. We are going to reject every single thing that is driven by state capture and greed. He should not expect that we will support anything that supports the theft of public funds or that supports state capture.
In soul searching, who should the president think it's Kenyans actually who have the problem, or he should look? He
should look himself in the mirror, because one question I can ask the president about Adani is how much of a joker can you be to sign a deal where you are giving a strategic asset belonging to the country, which is sensitive to national security, which is the main international airport of the country, to a foreigner for not 1, not 2, not 10, not 20, but 30 years. And then you continue and say in that contract that after that lease, that foreigner will own a national public asset that is sensitive to national security up to 20%. Which law is this that allows a foreigner to own a piece of the country, and not just a piece of the country, not private property, public property? Morara today, even if I'm a billionaire, even if I make all the money, I have all the dollars in circulation, I cannot be allowed to own a part of an airport, not even 10%.
What would you attribute the decision by President William Ruto to? Is it the
US
or
state
Kenyans?
capture. It is state capture because
of the deals in this case.
Beginning from 2013 to date, Mwai Kibaki left when the debt of Kenya was 1.8 trillion. We have a debt of about 12 trillion. Out of this debt of about 12 trillion, my own calculation says that we've lost about 7 trillion to corruption. This money is abroad. It needs to come back. The failure of state corporations in Kenya is intentional. The failure of sugar companies, the failure of the airport where the airport leaks. Before they signed the K24 deals, it was very suspicious that we were having blackouts. The reason we have these failures in state corporations, which are targeted for privatizing, is so as to create a problem, then pretend to provide a solution.
On the cancellation, would you attribute President William Ruto's decision to the public pressure or the US after Adani was indicted in the US?
The president had insisted on going forward with Adani, regardless of the fact that all evidence could show that Adani is not a reliable partner and is actually an international criminal. But after the US indicted Adani, that is when he pulled back and pretended to not go forward with the deal. But I expect that in the next 2 or 3 months, there will be another Adani in another name trying to come back and do our airport. The amount of money that is stolen through corruption is enough to not just do Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. It's enough to do all our airports into international airports.
Kennedy, on the Adani deals, and President William Ruto has been keen in this year to realize the public-private partnerships. In fact, even after the cancellation of the Adani deal, he is now open to other persons being on board, especially from the private sector, to help the government realize its agenda. And the National Treasury Principal Secretary, that is Chris Kipto, stated that we have no fiscal space to allow our budget to fund some of these projects.
Yeah, I think, as I usually say, and I'll repeat myself several times, and I'm very glad that I kept my cool, and everyone must learn to keep their cool, unless you have a supplementary question to your questions. Because one, when you hear, before I even execute because the other time I wanted to execute performance of the president, because that's my role. That's now the only thing I can do on this panel, because they will feed on rumors, but I will give the facts. One, in the 2 years, President William Ruto has managed to facilitate the acquisition of cheap fertilizers by Kenyans, despite the few challenges that were in those. But the intention and actually what has been achieved, the harvest we are having in terms of performance in the side of agriculture, subsidy program for fertilizer is an achievement, and that's a performance. Number two, agricultural value chains. For example, we have the cotton value chain, we have the edible oil value chain, we have health or leather value chain, we have the dairy value chain. Those are programs which are actually implemented by the government, and in fact, they are facilitating the finances to be in the people's pockets.
In fact, we'll be coming to the whole issue of inflation coming down. On the issue of the public-private partnership.
I am.
So that we come with the inflation of
I will deal with. I'm going to deal with the partnerships, but the Kenyans must also listen to this one, because you want to jump into a Adani thing and you are not looking at important
systematically.
Facts. Yes, because this topic was to look at the president's performance. Adani is one of them. So let us look at the bigger picture here. Number two, the PPPs. I'm going to handle it properly, but I have to tell Kenyans that there's development on SMEs, where we are talking about CIDCs which have been developed together with the industrial parks which are being built to ensure that small and medium enterprise businesses are going on. Affordable housing is another performance level, which we still several houses which are being built, people getting jobs on those particular, suppliers are getting contracts to supply materials in those building places. Another one is universal health care. Despite challenges with SHIV and SHA in terms of implementation, the policy framework that the government has will ensure that there is improvement in universal access to healthcare in the country. And another bigger thing is digitization of government services. You saw the president insisting every department to ensure that digitization is done. Now let me come to Adani. The government budget cannot sustain heavy expenditure in terms of capital investment. As you know, like I was telling you in the county budgets, even the national budget, 30% is only one which is available for development. Even if
corruption is sealed.
So,
the loopholes
sealing corruption is something, you see, corruption is not Ruto's problem. Corruption was not Uhuru's problem, Kibaki's problem, Moi's problem. Corruption began with the inception of this country. So sometimes when we talk about challenges of corruption, people are becoming theoretical than being practical. So they want to challenge the president on corruption, like what I always see Morara does. He goes to look at even projects which were not even done during which was a long time ago, which can only be talking about continuity of government instead of performance of government. So what I want to put here, on Adani deal, PPPs are the only way out for governments which are not having capacity to run their own thing. If United States of America enters into PPP, China enters into PPP, India enters into PPP, what is wrong if Kenyan government goes into PPP? Well, the only challenge is this. The only challenge is this. When Adani came into place, due diligence was done. But you see, when new evidence, even in criminal law, when new evidence come into play, prosecutor plays a different way. Well, if our government came to realize that there's a challenge with Adani, the president acted properly for the sake of Kenyans.
Julius, do Kenyans really have a problem with PPPs, or it's the transparency around it? Even now, with the cancellation of the Adani deals, the contracts have not been made public. And also how much was even spent before for the due diligence has not been made, of course, public. Is this what Kenyans are concerned about, or they're really opposing the PPPs?
One thing, PPPs are good, because I agree with Ken here that the government does not have the financial muscle to foot every bill. However, my biggest concern is that why do these PPPs always have to involve foreign entities?
Because they are the ones with money.
Oh, so we are poor.
We don't have money. That's why
you're saying that Kenyans cannot fund their own. Oh my God. We have serious banks here. We have serious Kenyans with the capacity to outperform these people. So PPPs are good, but I would urge the government to consider Kenyans first. I think even Morara can supply the entire government with furniture, isn't it?
I can.
Yeah, good. About the affordable housing, it's a good thing. And you can see we have slums all over. Eh? And this, from the onset, I knew it was going to bring problems because it is going to displace a lot of people who are receiving rentals and all these. But what I would like to do is for the government, let's make sure that Wananchi know how to access this facility.
Well, at this juncture, we take a short commercial break, but I still invite your feedback via social media platforms at K24 TV, at Joel Church as well on our SMS and WhatsApp numbers on the bottom of the screens. On 2024 Ruto's performance review, we'll be right back with the economic performance of President Ruto and as well the political aspect to it. Remember, this is the year that Rigathi Gachagua was ousted as a deputy president. Political projections will also form a better part of the conversation after this short commercial break. Stay tuned.
We interrupt this program to bring you some breaking news.
Meet the team of undercover teenage spies working for a fictional version of the secret intelligence agency known as the MI9.
This keeps happening!
They had to strike a balance between school life and their job as secret agents.
First day back at school and we're gonna be late. Shh.
MI High. Every Saturday from 10 a.m. Only on K24.
What are you passing through currently in your life? Could it be that you are facing family problems? Perhaps there is no peace in your family, or it's your marriage that it's at the verge of divorce. Maybe it's the addiction or the depression that is making you think that you are no longer important. Do not give up, for there is someone who passed through the same situation you are in now, but he or she overcame by giving God a chance in their lives. Every Sunday at 7:30 a.m. Be sure to join us in our program, I Am Soul Precious, here on K24 TV, and God will give you the direction you need.
I will love you without condition.
Oh yeah, Nairobi, Kenya comes alive on the 7th of December 2024.
Malaika.
At SK, the Dome Jamhuri Park Showground from 7 p.m. as the sensational Register Etana will be performing live at the Good Vibes Festival. Tickets are now available at ticketyetu.com. Regular tickets are now going for 1,500. VIP tickets are going for 3,000, and 5,000 Kenyan shillings for VVIP. Ingia ticket yetu na ushike tiko yako leo. Come and have some good vibes.
I'm not the sort of person who falls in and quickly out of love. But to you, I give my affection right from the start.
Aya, I'm not go TV stream. It's free.
Hii Krisi, sherehe imejipa na Go TV Stream. Stay connected to enjoy Go TV Stream on the go. Visit gotv.stream to sign up and start streaming. Sherehe imejipa na Go TV Stream. Available to active subscribers. Go TV. Love it.
This is K24's New Dawn. Welcome back. My name is George Chacha. Still a heated debate here in studio. Now to Morara Kebaso. You know, on matters economy, in 17 years, we've now got to a 2.7, 2.8% inflation. In what Kenya Kwanza would majorly, or not the broad-based government, will majorly attribute to the cheap fertilizer that, in this case, Kennedy has highlighted. The question is, are we really having our inflation low because the high cost of living has come down, or it's because there is no demand because of the purchasing power? In other words, yes, maize is there. There is a bumper harvest. But can Kenyans really even afford this food? And so, of course, those who are selling the agricultural produce will have to lower the prices because there is no demand in this case. Who is fooling who?
What I will tell you is this. When the economy is doing well, you're supposed to feel it in your pocket. You're supposed to feel it based on your ability to afford the necessities of life. So when the Kenya Kwanza government says that they've driven inflation down and that the shilling is doing better than the dollar and that there is more circulation of money, Kenyans should be able to feel it in their pockets that the economy is doing well. Otherwise, it becomes an artificial management of macroeconomics. Because what we have right now is a government talking about a grown economy, but businesses closing. A government talking about a grown economy, but people unable to import what they need to sell. A government talking about a grown economy, but more people sleeping hungry. A government is talking about a better performing economy, but people unable to afford education, especially higher education. The Honorable Ken Ondek here, who is a former member of County Assembly, said that the government has performed really well. The government of President Ruto has performed really well. And he mentioned the fertilizer program, which all of us here know, and Kenyans who are watching us today, they know that the fertilizer program was a scam. It was a big scam that even led to the attempted impeachment of the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. This was a program where we had fertilizer being given to farmers which had feces and a mixture of soil. So if that is the kind of performance that is attributing to President William Ruto, then he is doing President William Ruto a great disservice. They should not have a person like him representing government agenda on a set like this, national television. He talks about him and together with the gentleman on the far left, they say that Kenya cannot afford to fund big projects on its own, which is a big lie. I just want to give them a good example. The standard gauge railway. The standard gauge railway, purposively, they say that we spent 460 billion on that program. But facts have been tabled, and these are verifiable facts that are even on the website of the Treasury, that 460 billion came from the Kenyan taxpayer. We did not need to borrow any money, but another 460 billion was again borrowed from Exim Bank of China, ending up to the project costing more than 900 billion. So more than 460 billion shillings was stolen by double funding the project using domestic taxes and using borrowed money. He is talking about the affordable housing program, and I'm surprised that you supported him, telling him that he should just assist the public to know where to trace these houses. Even if you show me that the affordable housing program, ndio hii hapa, can I afford it? How affordable is the affordable housing program? A bed sit is 1.7 million. How many Kenyans can afford that? And if they can afford it, why would they want to buy that house in the village? Public, we've seen facts being tabled of public land that has been used to pick loan from a bank. Can you imagine that a contractor for affordable housing program was given a title deed belonging to the people of Kenya, and he borrowed a loan with it? It is laughable. It is impossible. It should not happen in any country.
Well, Kennedy.
On top of that, just before you go there, you say that this affordable housing program is meant for Kenyans. The money to build the houses is coming from Kenyans. Why would the president deduct from my payslip money, build me a house, then sell me a house that is built with my money? How does that make sense? That is wash. You cannot take my money, build me a house, then sell me the house that you've built with my money on public land, which I own as a Kenyan. It is completely laughable. It's a white elephant project. This is the biggest scandal since the independence. And the government of President William Ruto has taken corruption to a whole new level, because if you look at the corruption that was happening during Moi time and the corruption that is happening during President Uhuru and President Ruto's time, this one is astronomical, because at that time we were dealing with things like Goldenberg, we were dealing with things like Anglo Leasing. This was 36 billion, the other one was 27 billion, that amounts to around 60 billion. President William Ruto, in one project alone, he has stolen 100 billion. Just one project.
I really don't like
it is more than Goldenberg and Anglo Leasing combined.
Thank you. Not to interfere.
Yes. I hope he should have executed.
Keep your word. Let me, in just one project,
so
the president
I'm saying I don't want to interfere, but he needs to learn, because he's terribly lying. Let me tell you.
And also on the economic performance,
okay,
where Kenyans are not feeling really money
thank
in
you.
their pockets.
I'm going to deal with that. But you see why I interjected. In fact, as I said, I keep really my cool, and you know that. Whenever I come to this set, I really keep cool.
Now you've broken the rules, you'll be interrupted.
No, I was just, it is too pissing off to be listening to lies. Like when he talks about, even you as a journalist, my brother, and any journalist outside there, knows how much was spent on SGR. When he talks about 900 billion being spent on SGR, when we all know that $3.6 billion is what was spent on SGR, which is amounting to 468 billion, unless he has a different fact. You see, when you translate
just go to the
billion,
Treasury website.
Just a minute, Treasury. This is also website, Buana.
Go to the National Treasury website.
At a cost of 3.6 billion, SGR was among the Kenya's most expensive
Go
projects.
to the National Treasury website.
But this is Treasury.
You will see a loan from the Exim Bank of China for 460 billion for SGR. Then go to the Auditor General's report or the Controller Budget report and see that we funded it using our taxes. So we funded a project using our taxes, then again borrowed money to fund the same project that we've already funded. That's 460 billion stolen.
Let me tell you, we all know.
Even as you respond to that, he has also termed the affordable housing as wash.
Thank you. I'm going to deal with that. But I wanted to first of all tell him, and Kenyans must also tell such liars that just speak, even if the president...
You have cited the Auditor General's report.
The Auditor, okay, fine. Let me tell him what the Auditor General report was saying. One, when he talks about a loan from Exim Bank, it means Kenya, we didn't, in fact, SGR, we didn't spend our money, we borrowed. And that's why it's a loan. Once it's a loan, it comes to us. When you borrow a loan, you build a house, it is given to you as a loan, then you spend it now. It is us to pay. That's why the taxpayers will pay.
Even as we go to the economy. So
tell him, also tell these people off so that they don't just lie. When he says that Kenya spent 900 and something billion on SGR, that is a lie. Number two, affordable housing. I can tell you, for example, there are very many, and he talks about our county. Homa Bay is one of them, where 210 units are being constructed. Some are 2 bedrooms, some are 1 bedroom, some are bed-sitter. The fact is this, when they talk about being cheap, or being affordable. Affordability depends on who and how you are paying. One, they are able to pay slowly by slowly without having a mortgage percentage as it is done by the commercial banks. That one makes it affordable because you will get the house, you make a deposit of around 320,000 and then you proceed to pay.
Mama Mboga will get 320,000.
You see, let me tell you, even these Mama Mbogas you call, are having money to take those things.
You are saying Mama Mboga has 320,000
in Kenya are too poor.
No, are you saying Mama Mboga has 320,000?
Mama Mbogas are staying in
Kennedy,
the street.
are you saying Mama Mboga has 320,000?
Mama Mbogas lacking houses.
You are saying Mama Mboga has 320,000.
Okay, are they lacking it?
The question is
Mama Mboga does not
I think when you talk about Mama Mboga lacking money, are you saying Mama Mbogas we have in Kenya are staying on the streets?
So are you saying Mama Mboga has 320,000?
Given them the houses they are staying.
Kennedy.
Are you saying that Mama Mboga have 320,000?
Okay, who is Mama Mboga in your meaning?
Mama Mboga is Mama
Mboga. Okay, who is Mama Mboga? Are you Mama Mboga? You see, sometimes you people talk like if Mama Mboga is
Mama Mboga.
Who is a beggar? Mama Mbogas are Kenyans who are doing business.
Are you Mama Mboga?
Are you Mama Mboga?
How did you
keep on talking about Mama Mboga? For us to see who is Mama Mboga.
Well, let's maintain some order here.
Let's maintain some order. Give me an opportunity to go collect a Mama Mboga.
So you
Let's
should
go
have
for a
done
break.
Mama
I'll go
Mboga.
with
Wait,
one Mama
hold
Mboga.
on, guys. Hold
There's
on.
one
Hold on.
Mama Mboga just
Julius,
outside.
Julius time, eh?
Let's just go for a
We're
small
also
break.
focusing. Director have their mics off.
Affordability
Well,
comes,
Julius,
it's my time to
your mics
speak
are
now.
off. Julius.
Just- yeah.
Even as, of course, we talk about the affordable housing and the whole issue of, you know, this government taking credit of the inflation rate have actually come down to 2.8%. Kenyans are not feeling money in their pockets. In fact, the disposable income is no longer there. And even the affordability of these houses that, of course, Kennedy was talking about becomes the issue. 320,000 if you're to save it from your own pocket. If you're doing it, let's say monthly 10,000 Kenya shillings, it's only 120 at the end of the year. So how many years will it take you to afford a bedsitter? Maybe 3 years. If at all you're consistent with your saving, if the health insurance is working, that is sharp, which in some cases, it's not working. So where will you get this money even to afford such? Much as we talk about the inflation having come down.
You can never have a product to sell to everybody. That's the truth.
Thank you.
And if you can afford the affordable houses, you'll be in that bracket. There's a reason why we have a Mercedes and we have a Vitz, yeah, a small car. You cannot have a product for everybody. About the inflation rate, it's come down. Definitely unga is cheaper, much cheaper, and that's success in agriculture. But then I want to put on notice Murara and company. The problem with this country is we don't have a true opposition. We have political merchandisers.
And activists.
These are people who creatively oppose to edge closer to the national cake. And once they are sitting at the big table, Kenyans are on their own. So even most people who are creatively moving around, pinpointing this and that and that, and Chacha, you've seen them on this table, at this table. They will not come back here because they have finally reached their destination. Most oppositionists in Kenya do not represent the aspirations of Kenyans. They represent an agenda to move closer to the national cake. And that is a crisis of leadership in this country.
Are you already talking about now the broad-based government, which is there with the likes of Hassan Joho on board, who used to be a fierce critics of President Ruto? Now they are fierce, actually, defendants of the same president.
I'm talking about all the governments we have had. I'm talking about all the governments we have had. There has always been, and that is the reality of the architecture of our politics. Opposition does not exist in the Kenyan political contest.
In this 2024,
yes,
the president dismissed his maiden cabinet and formed the broad-based government.
I think
is it working?
I think he just woke up to the reality that there are Kenyans who can perform better than the people he started with. I think, and even those, when he looked at them and they were in the opposition, they were not true oppositionists. Of course, we had the Sufuria movement, then we had this other one, the Gen Z, and they're all fizzling out.
Marora Kebaso, broad-based government is here with us. Is it working for President Ruto? And also, this is the year that the president saw it fit to allow his deputy to be removed from office.
Broad-based government was just a way of, bringing consensus for corruption, so that those people who would otherwise be the opposition or who would question the performance of government now participate in the theft of public funds. And
so it was to weaken the opposition.
It was to weaken the opposition and also to weaken accountability, so that now people can eat in peace. And it's working for him because his mission is to steal everything.
So it's bread-based government.
If he's able to steal everything without noise, he is okay. So bread-based government, as we call it, is here with us, and they are stealing everything. And right now we have people like Ken Ondiek, thanks to the broad-based government, defending President William Ruto more than they used to before. And it's good for him that he has them. He has been able to use tribalism and the weaknesses of our country to weaken accountability. But what I will assure him is that the young people of this country are going to give the president a run for his money. And if he thinks that now he has killed the opposition, we are the new opposition. There is no opposition vacuum in Kenya. In fact, the kind of work I'm doing is more than any other opposition leader has ever done.
Can you look into the face of the Kenyan youth and tell them that you'll be true to your cause?
I will look, which is my camera?
3.
Now, the Kenyan youth who are watching me today, I want to promise you, looking into your eyes, that I will not be bought, I will not be bribed, I will not be compromised, and I will not do this for personal gain, that I will fight it to the end as we fight for good governance. Unlike these politicians who take their stomachs to the table, I will take the interests of the Kenyan people to the table. We may fail, but what if we succeed?
Where's your friend Kasmuel Makore?
Kasmuel Makore is now with ODM, and Mr. Ken Ondek took him to Raila. They made some money. He now has a big tender.
Let me tell you.
Which tender?
In the government.
Are you? And
He's not here to defend himself.
He even goes in a helicopter nowadays.
The problem
on the broad-based government.
And let me tell you.
Kasmuel Makore now flies on a helicopter after Ken Ondek took him to where the Jewish is.
I want to deal with that. That's why Kenyans must be very careful of Morara, because he doesn't research anything.
They should be more careful with you.
Like you see, even those projects he talks about, they are just rumors. Because like for now, Morara doesn't know when I started supporting the president, because he talks as if I started supporting the president after broad-based
Why
government.
didn't you vie under? You vied in 2013 to be an MCA. Why did you not vie under TNA?
Can you vie? Can you
or
URP? Can you vie and be elected or be rejected anywhere? It's when you know the meaning of vying and being winning and losing.
You know, I'm running for president. I cannot be arguing with a member of county assembly.
You can't even run for county assembly.
How can I be arguing with a member of county assembly, a presidential candidate?
You see,
this is embarrassing.
A
presidential candidate should not have the time to argue with a former member of county assembly.
He's
looking for a job in government.
But
which job?
He's looking for a job.
Which job? Ken knows where to take people.
Don't take me. No, don't take me.
Let me address
don't take me.
Let me address that.
You took Kasmuel, now he's flying in a helicopter.
You are going to, after
don't take me. I am not interested in
flying
in an helicopter.
No. Is the broad-based government
one about the broad-based government?
Or was it to silence the opposition?
No, the broad-based government will have to know. I said it on one channel, and let me repeat. The Constitution of Kenya does provide for structures, mechanisms, and the processes through which persons of different people get into different responsibilities. One through election, through nomination, either by the president or by the cabinet minister, where you can be nominated or appointed to be a chairman of a board or a member of a board. Those are processes. When the president, in his right mind, when he realized that people like Kerara Kebaso were busy making noise on the streets and they were not allowing the government to run, it was just important that he gets how to keep the country in order. And then
so
Raila Odinga, I've said it several times here, Raila Odinga being a statesman and who is trying to ensure that at least we have a government to run, we have a country to live in, he ensured that they sit with the president, they agree on the particular terms, and then he allowed. It is not issue of tumbocracy, because where was Kenya headed to with their demonstration? They say they want to remove the president. To put who? Because they really don't know even
to put a better president.
Which is the better president? You know the process of
is there a shortage of presidents in Kenya?
We know the process of putting a president in Kenya.
Julius,
the president put on
we are running out of time. Julius,
Julius, what I was saying, just allow me, just 1 minute, I beg you. On disposable income. I just wanted to talk about disposable income.
Is Ibrahim Traore the president of
disposable income is actually an amount left when somebody has spent and paid on necessities. Kenyans, based on the income we get, may not be enough. And that's the problem the government also has, that it doesn't have disposable income. That's why we need PPPs.
Julius, even as we wind up, on the broad-based government and also the political projection, I mean, already forces the likes of Gachagua now keen to team up with like-minded people, Kalonzo Musyoka and the rest. And is it working for Ruto now that he got Raila on board?
Thank you for mentioning Gachagua and my friend Kalonzo Musyoka. These are not like-minded people. They are like-interested people. First of all.
Finally, some honesty. You've said the truth.
It's the truth, but
yeah,
because just the other day, Gachagua was saying Kalonzo's votes are very few. Later, kura yenyu ni kidogo, later tuongezee. He was talking about Ukambani. I'm from Ukambani. I was talking about our Ukambani shares.
There is Gema now, a stronger force than
We
before.
have never been in Gema, the Kamba community. We have never been in Gema for 60 years. We have been outside that outfit. And there's a trend in this country. And let me speak for the Kamba community. I don't like being a tribalist, but let me just speak because I'm from there. We have Kamatusa, which has an A at the end. We have Gema, which has an A at the end. We have Kamagera, which has an A at the end. We have Kabisa, which has an A at the end. It seems the Kamba community is being given this small A. Everybody is keeping an A as a contingency for taking on the Kamba. I think Gachagua should just continue with his political adventure. And it is unfortunate that he lost the job. And it is also very unfortunate that he funded tribalism in this country and religionism. Let him settle down in Madeira.
Thank you.
And relax.
Morara,
Yes.
could President Ruto have given the members of ODM, the former members now, the likes of Mbadi, a rope to hang themselves at the end of the day? Because they even now his defendants more than they were his critics right now.
In football, there is something we call kushikisha handball. And these people, they were made to catch the handball, wameshikishwa handball. And right now, they are the ones defending President William Ruto even more than the ones who have looted public funds more than them. And they should be very careful about that defense that they are mounting. Of course, in government, there is what we call collective responsibility. So if you may have to have collective responsibility even for corruption. But one particular ministry that I know for sure is going to have a problem is the Ministry for Energy. That I know for sure. The others, we wait and see. But the Ministry of Energy, 2 weeks before the Cabinet Secretary for Energy, Opiyo Wandayi, took over, there is money that was withdrawn from that ministry that was purportedly supposed to be for the pipeline Line 5, and it was even covered in the media, from Mombasa to Nairobi, which amounted up to 40 billion in different installments that were being paid to this contractor. Yet the project was funded in 2018 and complete. You know that's theft of public funds. The problem that is going to happen there is Honorable Opiyo Wandayi is going to be accountable for that money. And it's going to be a very difficult question for him to answer.
Are you going to team up with the rest to oust President Ruto or to give Ruto a one-term presidency?
That will depend on what trajectory the politics takes. Because if they are going to team up as kingpins from different tribes, if Gachagua is going to come as the Kikuyu candidate, and Kalonzo comes as the Kamba candidate, and Matiang'i comes as the Kisii candidate, I will not be part of them. Because I am not running on the platform of any tribe. I'm running on behalf of the young people of Kenya who have given me a responsibility to run for president. And President William Ruto should be very careful because he has never run against a young candidate who has never held public office. So if he's writing me off, he is wrong.
When you talk about a young candidate who has never held a public office, confirms a lack of experience of what a public office is. A lack
of experience for theft of public funds.
So he doesn't know.
I lack experience. It is true.
First, he doesn't
Let the listeners know that it is true.
He doesn't know.
I don't have experience in stealing public funds.
He thinks that when you sit in a public office, you decide things discretionary. He doesn't know that we have rules and laws which govern everything.
What experience do I need to arrest President William Ruto?
So you don't even know that there is a process of arresting people.
What experience do I need to arrest him for what he did at home?
Now, what you see?
Do I need experience?
We were here. Okay, fine. Arrest anybody. I want to see you arrest anybody tomorrow.
You just wait.
The president, while he sits at the helm, has ensured that the stabilization of Kenyan shilling, and you realize that when he came in, there was a serious trauma on Kenyan shilling. There was a great pressure, but he has actually, through different mechanisms, ensured that our shilling has stabilized at around 128 to 132, which is actually good for our economy. Number two,
remember that he said that it's the markets that are determining the forces. So why are you taking credit in this case?
No, because they blamed them when there was problem. So when there's no problem, they need to
himself from
accept.
being the
Number
problem of
number
why
two,
the shilling was going up.
stabilizing prices of fuel as well, because he was blamed for the prices of fuel. At the same time, modernization of our interior ministry. I think what people like Kerara don't want to tell Kenyans is that there are certain activities, like if you go to interior ministry, and you better be informed.
By the way, Haiti deployment police officers there have not been paid for 10 months.
Okay, because you want to talk about negativities, but can I talk about positivities?
We
Then
are
I
running out
finish
of
with the
time.
negativity.
We'll
Because you
clear
see,
time
I'm telling you,
for this
if you go to
conversation
the
some other
Ministry
day.
of Interior, there's a lot of modernization in terms of the police
you, Kennedy.
and in terms of how the provincial administration is being handled. And in fact, if
Thank
you
you.
look at the nature.
Can I tell you what's going on in the Ministry of Interior?
What is going on is because you
I
don't
know.
know. You know nothing.
Can I tell you
You are
something?
just a liar. Let
Well,
me tell you. You are
that's
just
all.
Can I tell you what's
are a
going on in the
perennial
Ministry of
liar.
Interior?
I want to
We are
tell
wrapping
Kenyans
up.
that they should be very careful with you.
Can I tell
because
you what
of those
happens
M-Pesa
there?
message you keep on asking for money to lie for them. And to support our cause to lie. You
But you
cannot
just
be
asked me for fair right now, and I've given
you.
you.
are a liar.
If it was not
You are a liar. You see, you have lied
given him
since
fair.
Well,
I've just
that's
given him
all
a
here
number.
on K24's Newdon. My guests have been Julius Swambua, political analyst, Kennedy Ondiek, political analyst, and Morara Kebaso, a lawyer. That's all here on Newdon. My name is Joe Chacha. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Good day.
When it's a Saturday, there's only one entertainment show in East and Central Africa. Arena 254. Join Aisha Wanjiko and Tony Mwirigi for all the artistic interviews fused with amazing entertainment conversations and sizzling hot live DJ mixes. Catch this and so much more every Saturday from 10 p.m.
Skuzi nimechizi na wakanesa manzi mkamba anishuko mirema
only on K24 TV.
Because God says what? He says, I'll restore to you the years. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. As you connect to this word, may God's word that has got a creative power begin to create what is not there. I'm calling to existence the things which are not in your life, but you need them. The word of God shall preserve you. The word of God shall sustain you. The word of God shall feed you. The word of God shall keep you. For the promises of God in this Bible, they are yes and they are amen. Woo!
I will love you without condition.
Oh yeah, Nairobi, Kenya comes alive on the 7th of December 2024.